Today, we are diving into one of the most powerful and honestly often invisible forces in business, and that's culture. We're going to unpack why getting this right is the absolute key to making it big in international marketing. So, have you ever wondered about this? You see a company with a fantastic product, a massive budget, a super smart team, and then they launch in a new country and it just face plants. It's a total disaster. Why does that happen so often? Well, you'd think the problem is the product, right? Or maybe the strategy, the things you could actually see on a spreadsheet. But 9 times out of 10, the real reason is something hidden, something they completely missed. And that, right there, is the whole point of what we're talking about today. This isn't some small detail. It is the make or break factor. You get the culture right, you can win. You get it wrong, you're almost guaranteed to fail. The stakes are really that high. Okay, so before we can really dig into its impact, we need to get on the same page. What are we actually talking about when we use this powerful, kind of invisible word, culture? So here's the formal definition. Think of it as the whole package. The values we hold dear, our daily rituals, the symbols we all understand, our deepest beliefs, and even the way we process information. The key part? We're not born with it. It's learned, it's shared, and it's passed down through generations. And I love these two metaphors for it. The researcher Geert Hofstede calls it the software of the mind, like an operating system that runs in the background, guiding how we behave. Then you have Edward Hall, who calls it an invisible barrier, a totally different way of organizing the world that can trip you up if you're not aware of it. Both are such powerful ways to picture it. And this image just nails it, doesn't it? Culture isn't just a part of our world. It's the lens we see the entire world through. It colors every perception, every judgment, and every single choice we make, from what we buy at the grocery store to who we trust in business. All right, so if culture is our basic software, where does it come from? How does an entire society end up with the same programming? Well, it turns out it's not random at all. It's built systematically by the world around us. And this is the key thing to get. Culture is not an accident. It doesn't just happen. It's actively taught and constantly reinforced by the big institutions that make up any society. And here are the major players. It all starts with family, right? That's our first download of social rules. Then you have religion, giving us moral frameworks, like what foods are okay to eat. School literally shapes how we think. The media we watch influences our tastes. Governments nudge our behavior with policies. And yeah, even corporations play a huge role by introducing new products and ideas. Just think about what MTV did for a whole generation. And beyond those institutions, there are even bigger forces at play. History is huge. For example, some brands like Coca-Cola popped up in the Middle East as a direct response to historical conflicts. Geography shapes how ideas spread. And, of course, technology. The internet might just be the single most powerful culture-shaping force on the planet right now. Okay, so we know what culture is and where it comes from. Now let's break it down into its core pieces. And for a marketer, this isn't just some interesting theory. This is your actual toolkit for analysis. These 5 things are the fundamental building blocks. You've got values, which are our shared ideas of good and bad, rituals, like your morning coffee routine, symbols, which can be anything from language to colors that carry special meaning, beliefs, the things we hold to be true, and finally, thought processes, the very way our minds work to solve problems. And listen, this stuff isn't abstract. It has direct, real-world consequences. These 5 elements are what determine everything from how you shake hands in a business meeting, to how you build trust with a customer, to whether someone will even consider buying your product. So you're probably thinking, how on earth do you measure something this complex? Well, researchers have actually created tools to do just that. The most famous one is called Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions. It came from this huge study of over 90,000 people across 66 countries, and it gives marketers a common language to compare what makes different cultures tick. Let's just look at 2 quick examples. The Individualism/Collectivism Index, or IDV, asks, is a culture more I-focused, all about personal achievement, or is it we-focused, where the group comes first? Then there's the Power Distance Index, the PDI. This one looks at how a society deals with inequality. Is hierarchy just an expected part of life, or is it something people challenge? You can see how an ad that screams, "You deserve it," might land very differently depending on where a country falls on these scales. So let's bring this all together. After everything we've looked at, what's the big takeaway here? What is the one non-negotiable for anyone who wants to win in the global market? This quote says it all. It's not a nice-to-have skill, it's a job requirement. You can't just be a marketer. You have to be a lifelong student of culture, always curious, always learning, always adapting. Because at the end of the day, culture touches everything. It's going to dictate if your product features are even seen as valuable, what price feels fair, whether your ads are brilliant or offensive, and if people even trust the stores you sell in. It is absolutely everywhere. And that really leaves us with the final, most important question. It's not enough for your brand to just speak the language. It needs to be fluent. It needs to understand the history, the values, the rituals, the unspoken rules. So you have to ask yourself, is it? Is your brand truly fluent in culture? Because that's the question that changes everything.